come, just be ready for it. Doubt screams, what if? Faith says I already know it. But what good is a mustard seed if you never sow it? Rise up, we finna move this mountain, prepare the ocean.
You're listening to Your Slide Worldwide Podcast.
All right. All right, what's going on, family? What's up? What's up? I know a lot of you out there that have been following Positive Power Double XL for a minute. What's Batman up to now? Batman. That's right. We are Positive Power is hosting a podcast for smooth jazz. That's right here on Positive Power Double XI Christian Media. That's right, every Wednesday. That's right, we introduce an awesome artist from the Delmar, the DMV, all around the country. He's involved with some form of music. That's right. This is the jazz experience. They have experience in all genres of music, but their thing that they do in Chestertown, Maryland, is they specialize in the jazz scene. That's right. That's that platform. But here on the podcast, we hope to give artists, local artists that's in the DMV and the Delmarva, an opportunity to share their music, their ministry with you guys. That's right. Music make you feel good. At least that's what I heard. That's what I heard Michael Jackson say. So in a minute, we're going to be starting up the podcast. We're waiting for DJ Praise, Lady Praise, and DJ Jazzman to jump in. I know I see DJ Lady Praise. What's up, Lady Praise? How you doing?
DJ Lady Praise is on.
He's on. What about my man? Jazzman on? I'm not sure about Jazzman. That's you, Jazzman. Jazzman not in. Oh, Jazzman.
Hello?
I think Jazzman
Hello?
just jumped in. What's up, Jazzman?
Hello? Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, Lady Praise. Yeah, Lady Praise. DJ Lady Praise is here.
Right. What's up,
Yeah,
Jazzman?
you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you fine, yeah.
We actually live,
I
Jazzman.
don't hear Joy Roy. Yeah, I don't hear Jerry at all either.
All right, it's strange that y'all can't hear me because we up loud. All right, so we check the connections.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if this phone gonna last. I can hear Jerry a little bit, but
Can y'all hear me now?
it could be up on.
All right, y'all should.
Yeah, I can hear you guys too, but I can hear Jerry a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, make sure y'all turn your phones up. Y'all gotta turn your phones up.
My phone is up. As far as it'll go.
All right, hold up.
I'm on my cell phone. My phone is up, but it don't sound loud.
Jazzman, you actually live on the radio. You talking? You live? We live at 8:30. Actually, this is a live stream. Can you hear me now? So can you hear me now, Lady Jazz?
Yeah, Jerry Royce, I got it.
All right, you
DJ
got.
Lady Praise can hear you.
All right, so you guys are actually live right now on your podcast. I'm not recording right now because you guys did this last week.
Okay.
So y'all ready to do y'all show? Cause your guest is ready for you guys. So you guys are ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Yes, sir. We're ready.
All right. So you hear? So you got your phone straight now. I'm gonna have to get you guys connected to Skype or something. So y'all behave like y'all on the radio because I know y'all on your cell phones right now. All right. we have a production meeting. All right. So anyway, we about to introduce your guest. So let's start the show off. And of course, I'm gonna allow you guys to introduce your guest. So Lady Praise, you can go ahead and start the introduction, and I'll let them in the queue. Amen.
Okay, amen. Well, this is DJ Lady Praise on the Sunday Jazz Experience podcast, and we have professional saxophonist, multiple instrumentalist, educator, arranger, mentor, and music producer Walter Chancellor Jr.
Yes, how you doing, folks?
How you
How are you
doing?
doing?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Great.
You're
Thank you for
doing great.
joining us. Yeah, thank you for joining us on this podcast this evening.
Appreciate you having me on this evening.
Yes. So I wanted to say, I wanted to say right off, I played your Beautiful Day 2 last week on the Sunday Jazz Experience radio show, and I'm telling you, that song is wonderful.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That
So my
song-
first
that
question
song-
out, really. Oh, go ahead.
That song was inspired by, my mother passed away last June, so it's been over a little year. And
Wow. Okay.
I dedicated that song to her as Beautiful Day. As you know, as we all know, when people are born, it's a beautiful day, and as we leave, it's a beautiful day as well. So, we have to count our blessings in both instances.
Yes, we definitely do. Yeah. So that was part of one of my questions is, my condolences to you, especially my condolences to you, because my
Thank you
mother
very much.
passed away. My mother passed away last year in September. So.
I'm sorry. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. So that was sort of one of my questions as far as, so you get your ideas from things that happen in your life, or when you compose when you get your compositions together?
Yeah, it's all about experience and what I've been through, and then things of the moment. If there's something really good that's going on, then I'll write about that and get inspired by that experience, and move on to writing the song.
Okay, great. Hey, Jazzman, you got a question?
Yes. How you doing, Walter Chancellor Jr.?
Hey, Jazz,
And also-
how are you?
All right. I also want to extend my condolences to you and your family.
Thank you, my brother. Appreciate you.
All right. And my first question is, how do you compose an album? Like, I hear from writers, like they get writer's block, or, and so they have to put it off. But do you get inspired for the whole album? Is it individual songs? Exactly how you go about it?
Individual songs is where it starts for me. And the way that I build my songs, I always start out with a strong drum beat. And as we all know, our ancestors, this is how they talk to each other. This is what they were inspired and they used in language, and our heritage. And I start there with the dance of the drum. And then the drum inspires, words, of course. Excuse me. And they inspire melodies, and they inspire something musically that's going to be said. So then from there, that's when I build on, and I put other instruments on top of it. Not even the saxophone is what I play, but I'll start with the drums, and I'll build a nice beat, and then from there I'll put chords down. So then whatever mood I'm feeling with the song, I'm going to build chords around that mood and that feeling. And then from there I would add a bass. I'll do a bass and add that, and then from there, it's like, okay, I got the groove. This would be the melody. Well, not the melody, but this will be the verse. And then from there, I would, say, okay, I can't play this verse all through the song because it has to change, as what we know as bridges and changes. So then I'll put a change in, according to the chords that I had previously composed. And then I'll listen to the whole thing, and then I'll come up with the melody from my horn, and then finish the song off and mix it and so forth.
So otherwise, the sax comes at the end.
Sax always comes at the end for me. Yep.
That's interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, and I've written, I should say, hundreds of songs, and each one of them is done in that fashion. Beautiful Day was done in that fashion.
Okay. And Lady Praise, you have a next question?
Yeah, that is very interesting because, wow, I've always thought it was more, I sing myself, and I sing in my church choir and sing in different community events. And I've always thought that when you build a song, it's always like, again, some people say, okay, yeah, I'm going to sit down and do the melody first, and I'm going to sit down and write it out. Like Jill Scott writes out her, a lot of her songs came from her diary that she wrote as far as in her as poetry, and then she had her lyrics in front of her, and then said, okay, let me sit down to a piano and bounce it in and whatever. But that is interesting.
Yeah, that's my approach, and all my songs I've written from start to finish, I do it in that fashion. And now sometimes there was one song once, just one, and I can remember it. It was a long time ago. I never put it out, but I did start with a melody, and then I went to the piano, and then that's when I started writing chords over that melody. That's only one song out of all the hundreds I've done in that fashion and in that. Yeah.
That's fascinating. Wow. Well, I have another question for you. I see that you have performed with a lot of different artists here with Chaka Khan and Bobby Lyle. How was it working with Maceo Parker?
Well, Maceo, I had a band that was called Conversation Piece, and we had a house gig downtown at a club here in Minneapolis called Jasmine's. And when we first started playing, I tell you, the first 3, 4, 5 weeks, there was nobody coming in the club. And then all of a sudden, we were getting lines to come in the club. The band was really popping. It was really popping. So Prince would come down like twice a month, and he'd sit in with us, and he would bring different people down. One night he brought Maceo Parker, and he brought who else was there with him? Candy Dolfer was there, his trombone player that he used in his band. He brought Greg Boyer, and then he also had Larry Graham down there, and all these guys were on stage with us at the same time. Prince himself.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this happened. This was a monumental moment for me. I always wanted to play with him, and then here he is coming to a club where, I assembled a band, and he's sitting in, And Kirk Johnson was the one who was playing drums. He worked with Prince in the early years as a dancer, and he worked up to remixing. Then he started engineering and doing things like that.
Wow.
He was the one that introduced me to Prince, and he was the drummer. So, those experiences were great. So it's always been great to have those people on stage with me at some moment, even though it happened once, And Prince also produced a record for Chaka Khan. And by the way, I just saw her last week with Michael McDonald here at the Mystic Lake Casino. It was a great show. But
I bet that was a great show. Ooh.
Oh, it was awesome. And Prince, Kirk Johnson was actually doing some work. He said, "Hey man, you called me, so you want to do some recording on Chaka's record?" I said, "Chaka?" He says, "Yeah, Prince is producing a record for her." So I went out and did that, and here I am in the performance booth, and I look up, and he said, "Just go out there; they're waiting for you." So I go out there. I look into the control booth. Larry Graham is standing there, Chaka Khan is standing there, and Prince is standing there. They're all three looking at me while I'm doing, and I totally messed up and was nervous and had all these crazy butterflies in my stomach.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, you probably were nervous. It's like, oh my God.
Very. So my first pass.
Yeah, the legends are looking at me right now.
Right. So my first pass of the recording where they wanted me to play, I kind of jacked up, and they knew I was nervous. So they just stopped, and Prince got in the microphone and talked to me through the headphones and said, "Walter, I know Prince is in here, and I know Chaka Khan's here, and I also know that Larry Graham is standing there. I would be nervous too." So I was just like,
wow.
Okay, maybe feel a little bit better. So then the next round, I nailed it, and then they stopped. They stopped the tape after I recorded, and they all just stared at. They just all stared at me. They were just glaring at me. And what Prince did, he made them. He probably told them, let's get Walter. So, the music stopped, and they're just glaring at me like, what are you doing, And then all of a sudden they just bust out laughing. They said, great job, come on in the control room. We're going to do this stuff. So then I went in the control room, and then, Prince comes, he comes up to me. He just goes in my ear. He said, "Walter, nice vibrato on the tenor. I love it." And that's the recording I'm on. It's called Come to My House. The record is called Come to My House, and I'm on the song Reconsider You Better. And I'm on that one.
Wow.
Yeah. And I opened for Chaka
goodness.
years and years ago, back in 1991. I opened for her with a band that was called The Underworld. And this was back in 91. And that night I met Janis Jackson, I met Jimmy and Terry, I met Johnny Gill. All those guys were at that show. And Chaka was very nice. And I was smoking at that time, and she lit my cigarette for me when we were doing the sound check, because you could smoke in the clubs. She says, you smoke? And I was like, yeah, I smoke. And she comes, here, let me light that for you. She lit my cigarette. So, you know, what can you say? You know, Chaka Khan lit your cigarette for you, you know.
Yeah, and, did you pass out afterwards?
I wanted to. I really wanted to do it. I felt a little faint, like I don't believe this is happening. Let me slap myself and pull myself up out of this dream. But that was a magical night.
Wow.
I was shocked. And then later, when I saw her at Paisley to record on the stuff that Prince produced for her, I came in the front door, and she looks at me. She goes, I know you from someplace. And I said, yeah, I opened for you back in 91. And this is like 5-6 years later, you know.
Wow.
So it was great doing all that work with them, and I was very fortunate, and I praise my God for that, for giving me these opportunities. Yeah. Because when I moved to Minneapolis, I came up here with next to nothing. I came up with $60 in my pocket. I had a Datsun 280ZX.
I remember them.
Yep, I only had 3 brakes on it, and you know, I was coming up on winter time. I had all my clothes, I had my stereo, all my vinyl. I got all my records. Actually, I left some of them. I took the best ones with me, and then later when I went back home to Des Moines, that's where I'm from and was raised. I drove back down there at a later time and got that stuff. But I had some really, really hard times. I quit my job in Des Moines just to come up here. So, you know, I had some rough times coming up, and, you know, again, you know, I thank God for these opportunities that have been bestowed upon me to do these things and to be in the place and space I'm at now, you know.
Okay.
Wow. Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. I worked with him just on the Prince thing. I worked for him for it was 2 years before he passed away. He had me come out and do some software work, because I teach at a college here. You know, my music is just my only field. I'm a teacher as well, but it is connected to music. So I teach recording, and I teach production at the Institute of Production and Recording here in Minneapolis, and I've been teaching there for 17 years, and I've probably taught at least 2,400 students throughout that time. So everywhere I go, I see my students. They're everywhere, and they work at stores, Guitar Center, this and that. You know, some of them even work at the casinos. And I've done jobs and played different engagements, and there they are. They pop their little heads up. And, hey, Walt, you know, there I am. You know, seeing my students in their professional work. But I do a lot of things here in town. Also involved with the Twin Cities Mobile Jazz Project. Andre Fisher.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds fascinating to me.
Andre Fisher's a dear friend, and he used to be the drummer for Rufus and Chaka Khan. He was also married to Natalie Cole.
Yeah.
And, he lives here in town. He had a lot to do with that record Unforgettable, you know, that she did. You know, he was married to her at that time, and he had a lot to do with that production. But he's a really good friend. We've been friends for at least the last 8-9 years or so, and we hang out a lot. And actually, he came to my last show. But anyway, we wanted to do something that, you know, would educate kids and inform them about this, you know, American art form, which is jazz. You know, that's the true music that's come from this country. You know,
exactly.
As well as country music, but country music is definitely country music is a baby to the blues, slave songs, all kinds of stuff. But now you have a different demographic of people that sing it, you know, these days, you know, and you have some African Americans that sing like Charlie Pride. You've got Darius Rucker, you know, people like that. But that music was derived from blues and all kinds of stuff. But anyway, we teach jazz and inform jazz, have jazz concerts like throughout the summer. We have them every Wednesday here in Minneapolis and different parks. The organization, the foundation, is actually a nonprofit, and we're partnered with the Minneapolis parks, here. And the parks here have been rated as some of the best parks in the U.S. here in Minneapolis, the city parks here. They're awesome and very, very well connected as it relates to art and doing different things. But anyway, we do these concerts every Wednesday, and I'm a founder. Andre Fisher is a founder. Ryan Cahill, he's a photographer / graphic artist. He does websites, and he helped me with my initial website at one point. He's also one of the founders, and Diane. There's a bunch of people in this, but we have a small circle of people that started it. But now it's blown up, and they got community. We're doing after-school programs for kids now over in St. Paul. So we partnered with the St. Paul Public Schools, and we have Diane Jackson, who I wanted to say, about one of the founders. But we made ourselves in the community centers over there, have after-school programs. So, to help these kids express themselves and do something different, have another experience with making music and beats and things like that with, some tools that we have in the studios per station, different stations, like 5, 6, 7, 8 stations in a room. And these kids can sit down and make beats with some software that's easy for them to work. They don't have to, know piano. And if they do, that's even the better. But they're able to make music and record and make songs and express themselves through their lovely little hearts. So that's what we're doing with that. Mm-hmm.
That's a very admirable thing that you all are doing.
Yeah, well, at this age, Jazzman, I'm in a place now where I've had my accolades, and I'm still going to accomplish more. That's my intention. I want to keep going and doing stuff. This last single was on Billboard and everything, but these accolades, they're not the forefront of what it is that's deep in my heart, and what's deep in my heart is giving back. When I was younger, right, and I wasn't exposed to this kind of music and what these kids are exposed to here in this city when I was in Des Moines. It was a little bit more shut off, but we had music. People had a lot of bands. We had great bands down there. And I went on the road with a 13-piece show band once I left the service in 1974. And that was a great band. But, I'm speaking of opportunity. And when I'm saying an opportunity are people and mentors and folks that were older than me that could really bring me up in music, and really vet me for it. You know what I'm saying? So, we do this here. And some these kids, all of them aren't trying to be stars. They want to be, that's just the way their little minds work and younger folks think. But at the same time, it's more about the experience, them being able to experience something like that, which, brings about a lot of camaraderie as it relates with the other kids, where one might be from a different ethnic background. One may talk a different language. You see what I'm saying? So we're able to have these kids work together, and then when they go into adult lives, they're definitely going to be able to relate to that because they did it,
Yes.
In their real world as adults, and then it can cast away things like racism. It can cast away things of religious differences and so forth and so forth.
Yes, music is amazing. Music can transcend every genre, everything. Abnormalities, everything.
But anyway, also, I think even if a Martian came down from Mars, he'd be jamming to it. You know what I mean?
I
it's a universal language.
Right, exactly.
and also, Walter, I also wanted to know what was the most profound thing that you learned from Prince and Chaka Khan.
Okay, start with Prince. The first thing that I learned about him was space and writing songs. And a lot of the stuff you hear, there's a lot of stuff going on in the music, but there's always space so he can make it funky and keep it funky. So I learned that, and also learned, just to do my own stuff, man, and not to do other people's music. Not so much.
Okay.
I don't do too many covers. I've done records where I've done covers of saxophone tributes to different artists for a company that here that was called Tribute Sounds. And I did probably about 24 records for them. To Janet Jackson one, I did a Sade, Stevie Wonder, this and that. But as it relates to what's really in my heart, and what I learned from Prince was to do my own stuff, and write my own compositions and come up with my own ideas. And not that you can't write with other people. It's not a selfish undertaking. It's just a matter of, coming up with your own stuff, making something original. It's like all three of us get in the studio. We all come up with it together. And as long as we write some stuff, it's ours, So, co-writing is a big thing with me too. But I just learned a lot about that with him. And just the you're never going to be perfect in what you do, but you got to strive for perfection. And you can see that in everything, friends. The way he looks, the way he played, what he demanded from his band, it's all of that. So that's what I kind of learned from him.
Oh, okay. And from Chaka?
Yeah, Chaka, I think what I learned from her is that no matter how big a person gets, how large they are in the business, you got to keep it real. Got to keep it real. Because that was her. She was just so real. And she's so sweet and so nice. And she never was unkind with me from the time I did that sound check with her in 1991 when we opened for her to the time that I actually recorded on her record. And a short story, long story short, I was on the road with that 13-piece show band back in 1975. And I had their very first record, that Rufus put out. And I always looked at that cover and I thought to myself, man, I would love to be able to play with these people. I saw a picture of Andre Fisher on there. And I said to myself, man, it'd be cool to work with those cats in this. And here I recorded with Chaka. And then I also, I'm best friends with Andre.
That's something, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I think what happened is God knew what was in my heart and what I wanted to do. And he allowed me to will that to happen.
Wow.
I really feel that way, and it just came full circle for me, just total full circle, and I never thought in my mind back then that I would be, but I had in my mind that I wanted to be, and I think that was enough for me to, over the years, 1975, and I get, 20 years later, I am recording with, these folks, and then meeting Andre here lately here in the 2000s.
Wow. Incredible.
That's something.
Incredible. So Walter, what's next for you after? So you're going to be just really promoting this new song and going out and play. What's your next what's your next gig or event coming up?
My next event is going to be this Monday with a very talented vocalist here in town. Her name is Thomasina Petrus. She does a Billie Holiday show.
Ooh.
And she sounds just like her. And
oh my God!
It's crazy. It's crazy. And Thomasina Petrus sings Lady Day, and it's going to be at the Dakota Club here. This is the big jazz club here in town. It's the Dakota. She sold it out twice already. So I'm going to play. I'm going to play Lester Young in the show. So I got.
Oh my word!
That should be nice.
Porky Pie hat. The pork pie hats he used to.
Yeah.
I got those, and then of course I'm going to be playing the tenor sax, is what he, was his forte, and turn that neck piece to the side like he used to. So it's all of that. So I'm in the process this week of learning these tunes that Thomasina has prescribed for me to play in that show.
Wow, wonderful.
So that's coming up Monday. And I had a big show last week. I did a 3-night date here at the new Hilton Umbra, or what they call the Canopy. And I did 3 nights down there. The first 2 nights was the jazz fusion band that I assembled. And then the last night was with Thomasina and a real, straight up jazz quartet, with the big bass and, acoustic bass and drums. And then, of course, piano. Tom West was on piano. Mario Dawson was on drums. They had Thomasina on vocals. And then there was myself and Ron Evniak, incredible bass player. He was playing bass. And then the other ensemble, the jazz fusion, was myself and Brian Nilsson, who's just like a keyboard wizard. It seems like he's got his own place in the universe or something. And then Mario Dawson also played with me on drums on that. And then Will Will Glasper on bass. And Will had played with Alexander O'Neal at one time. And some other people. Mario has worked with just countless of artists, younger artists. I think even with R. Kelly at one point. And then the piano, Tom West, his folks and family have a school over in St. Paul, which is called the West Music West. Can't pull it out of my mind right now, but they've got a school. His brother has a school over there.
Okay.
Yeah, and they have a school where they teach, jazz, for kids, and they take lessons and things like that. It's a great school. Yeah.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
so that's
wonderful.
So those are the places I played. But again, the show coming up this Monday is what I'm really excited about, and I do a lot of corporate jobs as well. So I get hired for those things, and for their events and stuff like that. I'll probably be becoming more public as I book my band here in the future. I would like to book outside of Minneapolis. I'm working on some things down in San Antonio. I'm trying to do some things, and also some things I'd like to try to do out west and get more into these smooth jazz festivals and things like that.
Yeah, hopefully you'll come this way on the East Coast. where we're located.
So where you're located at?
We're located in Maryland.
Maryland?
So there's some really good, there's Rand's Head.
Maryland, D.C. area.
Yeah, Maryland, D.C., Baltimore area, yeah.
I've got a good friend that I worked with for many years and been knowing for many years. He's featured on some of my previous material and records. His name is Mike Scott, and he's out in D.C. And he's with Justin Timberlake now. He's the guitar player that plays with Justin Timberlake.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he's been with Justin for 7 years. And he played with Prince for a while as well. We all kind of intermingled in that camp at one point in time. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Wow.
So that's about the best connection I have with the D.C. area.
Okay, great. Okay. Well, Jasmine, do you have any other questions?
Yeah, Walter, do you write and compose for other artists?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. It depends. And, I write some urban type stuff. I do have some different types of music I write. I just don't write just jazz or smooth jazz or whatever. I can write urban hits type stuff. I could write I've got a country artist I'm going to be producing here soon. Yeah, and he's an African American brother. He's awesome, and my intention is making the next Darius Rucker.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be listening.
That's right.
This dude's bad.
Can you drop a name yet?
No, not yet, but
oh, okay.
he's awesome. I'll just put it this way: he's a bad man. So
all right.
I'm gonna try to work with that, and I do know different musicians for certain sorts of genres here in town. I've got a wide base of musicians I know here, and I know all of them, and they all know me. And I could get a steel guitarist if I need for him or anything to accommodate that style. So I'm working on that. Yeah, but yeah, I work with a lot of different people, and when I have the time,
Hey, Lady Praise, Batman got a question for Walter. Now, Mr. Walter, I don't know a lot about music like them. I just was a DJ back in the 80s, and now a radio engineer.
Oh, okay.
But Batman got a question for you. Because I'm dealing with a lot of technology, and we watch how we move from vinyl to CD to Blu-rays, and now we're 100% pretty much on downloads. People building playlists. Right. How did you guys embrace the digital technology, knowing that your music, your money was going to be made that way? How did you embrace it?
Well, there's certain things that you need to do. When putting any music out now, there's just certain entities that you have to sign on with. One of them is ASCAP for sure. The next is you do your copyright.gov stuff for your works, and then also Sound Exchange. A lot of people aren't hip to it, but this is what pays you from the radio when your stuff gets played. Because you folks know that you guys have to pay people to play their stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yep.
Musicians, different people, yeah. So this is what kind of helps out from this digital age that we're in now to have all these, and also getting on the Nielsen ratings. Signing your material up to that. So now you made, you're in connection with all the things that where the digital music is being calculated. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And where it's being counted, where it's being noted, and where it's been paid from. So, it's doing that. Now, people aren't buying many CDs now. They're just not. They just don't put the money up for that. They just don't. And first of all, you get a new car now, they don't even have a CD player anymore.
That's right.
Yep.
So it's all about the Bluetooth. It's all about iTunes and getting with, one of these music suppliers or signing your record or signing your record up to one of these, such as CD Baby, Reverb Nation, this and that. You got DistroKid, who I use, to make sure all your stuff gets put on iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, so forth. But then, if you're someone that's, trying to get real airplay on, terrestrial stations, then what you're going to have to do is, get an agency or a folk that does marketing that can get you airplay on the stations that, facilitate your genre. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So it's a lot of work, and all those things is what, to answer your question, is what I do to face off with the digital world as it relates to musicians and how they get paid now.
Amen. Yeah, because I knew it was quite a shock to a lot of people used to, handing off CDs and, going to a club and handing it to a DJ. Now it's like you got to email them and send them an MP3 file and say, hey, can you? And I get a lot of emails from artists all over the world asking, can we play their music? And I was just wondering, was it harder or did this make it easier for you guys to? Because there's a lot more radio stations out there thanks to the internet. A lot more.
Right. But it's hard. I would say it's hard to probably get paid like people got paid because, first of all, to sell CDs is considered a mechanical entity as it relates to ASCAP and places like that, how many records you sell. And it's that whole thing,
Yeah. And hopefully it gets better.
Yeah. So the money you make from CDs are probably the ones that you make when you do shows. So I'll have CDs for that, and some people won't buy them. And, then there's other things. Sometimes you can make download cards and sell those.
Yeah.
You sell download cards.
Okay.
Yeah. So it is a lot more flexible out there.
There's a download card. It's got a code on it. You can only use it once. And then you can download it, and it goes on your phone into your iTunes or whatever music thing that you're using. So there's different ways of doing that. Yeah.
Yeah,
there's different entities that will help you out with that. One of them is CD Baby. They're really good with the download cards and things like that. And even people that do duplication at CD houses now, when you get your CDs made up, they have a service now where you can get download cards instead of CDs. So there's all kinds of ways of doing it.
Yeah. I thought it was going to kind of change the game a little bit, even when you guys go on tour and, when people want to, have a piece of you, the CD is now like a novelty, like buying a T-shirt or a poster,
Right. It's more of a novelty item now. Now I'll tell you this, coming back is vinyl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
A lot of people getting their stuff done on vinyl. Now, this record that I recorded with Prince, Emancipation, I played on 2 songs. The opening song called Jam of the Year, and then the 6th song on the 3rd disc called Style. And that CD has just been, jumping around here and there. I'm sure everybody and their mom has been trying to buy it up just because.
Yeah, I had that CD.
Prince, with Prince being gone. I played on the first song, Jam of the Year, and then I played on Style. I'm on both of those.
Oh, okay.
Beside the credits, they're in there. And also, as time has went on, they've decided that they're going to put that CD out they're going to put it out on vinyl. They're going to re-release it on vinyl, and it's going to be 6 records opposed to the 3.
Wow.
It's going to be 6 records. Yeah, so they're doing that on vinyl. So I'm really excited about that, to see where that goes. And I don't know, September or November, sometime soon, though.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting.
So why do you think that? So Walter, why do you think the industry is going back to vinyl?
There's a lot of people buying really really expensive vinyl equipment. There's people that have like systems, really wealthy folks that just get into that whole technology, and they'll spend $100,000 on stuff, just on a record player. There's people that spend, $25,000 on a record player.
Wow.
Yeah, actually, we have
the turntable.
Yeah.
And then the amp will be. Yeah, and you'll see the amp will be, a tube amp of some sort, and that could cost another, $10,000.
Wow.
Yeah, we got 2 turntables in our studio.
Yeah, and there's a gentleman in Chestertown that has opened up the place called the Listening Room in Maryland here, and he sells those exact systems for around $10,000-$15,000. Yeah.
Yes, it's expensive. Yeah. It's an expensive hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My system that I bought in 1970s, I had it all refurbished, and I'm sitting here in my living room right now looking at it, and I got my amp, my old amp from '78. I got my speakers that were made in '76, and I've got my turntable that was made in the late '70s. Wow. I got it all refurbished. I got my speakers fixed up and did all that. And I blew the speakers years ago and just never got them fixed. But I took them to a guy who's a good friend of mine named Eddie Chipoletti here in town. He fixes anything that has something to do with, mechanical turntables, DAT machines, any of that stuff, amps, whatever, speakers. So I gave the speakers to him and took the amp, and he refurbished it for me, and it's working great.
Wow.
So I've been listening to my old records and my old George Duke, and even went all the way back to I got the vinyl for James Brown Live at the Apollo. I listened to that one. So, I've got a serious collection.
Yeah, the vintage.
Not vast as many people. I would say I have at least 400 records, but there's other folks that have thousands. And for me, it's not that big, but I do have some choice cuts in my collection. It's like, people will be jamming on every other record, that's for sure.
That's right, vintage. Yeah. I heard it was a guy that actually travels.
But to answer your question about the vinyl, you asked me why, and I think that's what it is.
Yeah, the baby boomers. Oh, okay. It's probably a baby boomer thing.
Yep, exactly.
Yep, they got time.
Definitely there. But the young ones are catching on to it too, man. Because there's a lot of younger groups that are coming out, writing music and doing stuff, and got a name, and they've got budgets enough to get that made, because it's expensive to get vinyl made for your material. It's spendy. And of course, back in the day when we had record companies and things like that, they always had the cash on hand to be able to take care of that financially.
Yeah. I love the instrumentation on vinyl. I love the instrumentation in terms of what you can hear for each instrument. Right. To me, is more profound to me.
Oh yeah, it's definitely got its own vibe now. It's got its own vibe as compared to a cassette deck or 8-track or or even a CD. It's definitely different. But my thing is this: the quality of the music. If the song is hitting, no matter what genre it is good music. And as long as it's good music and you hear it as an MP3 or whatever, you're still going to be able to enjoy it. You're still going to be enjoyed. But then again, that whole vinyl thing is a matter of taste.
That's right.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. And taste and money.
Yes, because it's expensive. You buy a record these days, it's going to cost you like $25-$30 at the least. When records used to cost $12. Remember when it cost $12?
Yeah, $10-$12. Yeah.
That's like
$9.99.
Right. I've got records of my grandparents from the '50s, and they still got stickers with the what it costs. It'd be like $3.99.
Yeah. But you got collectors though, because I remember a guy told us that he would fly out to see us, because my wife actually had inherited a collection, and the guy said I would fly out to look at it. I was like, wow, he's gonna fly here. So that is, I guess he saw something come. Yeah, this was like 3-4 years ago.
Serious about it, man.
Yeah,
take that serious. Yes.
It was like 4 years ago. But we never set it up because we figured we should hold on to him a little bit longer, see what's going on.
Right.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Amen.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Walter Chancellor. I've enjoyed.
Well, thank you for having me, and this is an honor to be on your show, and I really appreciate what folks are doing. and I appreciate you. So thank you very much.
Amen.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Definitely going to have you back soon.
Now, just for the listeners that's listening in and who may listen later when this podcast is put up, my website is Walter Chancellor, CHANCELLOR Jr.com. So you can go to my website and keep up with where I'm playing and what I'm doing here and what I'm not doing there.
All right.
So I'll be doing something here or somewhere, some kind of way. And if things float up, I'm probably in the lab trying to come up with something new.
All right.
And
sounds good.
We're definitely going to be playing your music on our show, on the Sunday Jazz Experience too. So,
Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank
All right.
you.
So we were in the show on his single. You ready to introduce it?
Yeah,
Yvette?
let's do it.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Let's do it. This is hopefully this is going to be the single "Beautiful Day."
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yes, and this is by Mr. Walter Chancellor Jr. on the Sunday Jazz Experience podcast.
You're listening to Your Slide Worldwide Podcast. You're listening to Jerry Sly Worldwide Podcast.
All right. Great show. Great show. Lady Praise, Jazz Man. Awesome.
Great show.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody for tuning in on Facebook Live and, of course, our Spreaker audience. We really appreciate, Spreaker audience. Wow, we really appreciate you guys, too, for sharing that file out there. And any final words, Lady Praise, before we sign out?
Nothing at all. Just thank everybody for tuning in. The first podcast. We've got many, many more to coming up next week. So we're looking forward to just sharing everybody, just talking to a lot of different artists and stuff, and really getting into a lot of stuff. So
that's right.
Just stay with us. We're gonna have a good time.
All right, Jazz Man. Any final words, sir?
I would just like to say thanks to all the listeners, and have a blessed week. And there'll be many more exciting podcasts on the way.
That's right, especially for your music lovers. Get a chance to listen to a mixture of genres that help the soul of our bodies. Feel that that real groovy, smooth music. Not that that tarnished, toxic stuff. So tune in on Wednesdays and get some really good stuff. Get a chance to feel where these people are coming from when they compose and produce their music. Next 2 weeks we have some artists coming out of Chestertown. Their genre is message music, I call it, gospel, inspirational, and they're going to be here to share with you their works. And I hear some really, really good things about these artists. So please tune in and support the Delmarva and the DMV and, of course, artists from around this country, because we're on a mission, and that is to spread the good news of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, through music. Amen? And the positive messages.
Yes, sir. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Everybody have a good night and stay tuned for more. That's right. Some more
All right. Peace.
The Sunday Jazz Experience.
All right,
Amen.
Be blessed.
You're listening to Jerry Sly Worldwide Podcast.